And a fine Saturday morning, folks. It's I don't know, about 7:30, I guess, and it's raining this morning. So found a nice quiet place here at a friend's cafe, and wanted to just kind of talk a little bit today. Heading up to Sacramento, and rain, snow, shine, doesn't matter. Um, I am committed to this idea of trying to change the direction of this country. So I had a friend of mine challenge me to not use any negative cartoon comedy things in my posts for a week, and I'm going to try to do that. So here's where I'm at today. I, Deacon Taylor, of reasonably sound mind and sound body, am running for the office of the presidency in 2016. And I've filed the formal FEC paperwork that declares my candidacy, and I have the next 2 years to get on the ballot in all 50 states. Each state is slightly different. In Colorado, for instance, you have to have either 5,000 signatures of people that are able to vote, or you have to have $1,000. Every state's slightly different, so I'm in the process of going through every Secretary of State to find out what their requirements are, what their deadlines are, and to begin that process. So I'm not just playing around here, I'm very, very serious. And so as a candidate, I'm here to tell you that I have two major objectives that I want to accomplish upon election. And the first thing that I want to accomplish is, based on everything that I read in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the amendments, and then using the Federalist Papers, which are all of the notes, diaries, and journals and so forth from the Founding Fathers during the time of the Constitutional Congress. I intend to effectively bring all of our military home and start winding it down and setting it up as the militia force that it should be all along. So I'm not sure if that will be the National Guard, if that will be the current military formats that exist, but we will have a stand-to military, not a always-on-ready military. And so that might be scary for some folks, because some people really think that the boogeyman over there in ISIS or wherever in the world is going to invade our country and try to destroy our way of life. And while there may be some really bad people out there that may try to get over here, we have every ability to defend and protect ourselves. And according to the way I read the documents that was founding of this country, we were never meant to have a standing military. We were meant to have a militia force that at a moment's notice could absolutely come to ready and defend us in any kind of a conflict. And I think we can do that. I think we can use the National Guard reservist model to absolutely have that kind of a military force. And so that's my proposal number one, is bring all of our military home, get rid of all of the international assets that we have acquired, aka stolen over the years, and sell those off and use that money to start paying down our debts, because we have a debt in this country that is astronomical. And it's no surprise to me when you talk to the average American, and the average American is in debt way beyond their monthly means. And so our culture has been ingrained for the last 120 years that debt is okay. And not just okay, it's kind of a part of way of life. And one of the biggest problems with that is, if you're constantly paying interest payments, you're not actually able to get ahead. And so most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're 2 or 3 months at best away from being homeless. That's not okay. That is absolutely not okay. You should never have to worry about where your next meal is going to come from. And yet 1 in 8 Americans are going hungry. So we have some real problems that we need to solve in that regard. And it starts with bringing our military home, not being the mercenary force that we really are being in the military these days. If you look at all the conflicts that we've been in for the last 50, 60 years at least, we've been a mercenary force. And we've gone over and secured areas so that corporations can go in and make tons and tons of money. And I'm not naive enough to believe that this is all going to happen overnight. It's going to be a process. It's going to take at least 4 years to bring things back to a balance, and probably take even 8 years or maybe longer. I don't know. What I do know is I get, upon election, 4 years to make as much of a difference as possible. And so that's the first thing, and that's the most important thing in my mind, is we've got to be able to secure our own country and take care of our own issues before we become international police. We have to step out of this role of being the international police force. That is not our responsibility. That is not our job as a country. And we don't have the right to do those things all over the world. We have no business being in anybody else's country unless they ask us to be there. And if they ask us to be there, then our Congress needs to come together, and we need to do more of the things that we used to do in wars, where everyone in the country agrees. And because everyone in the country agrees, or the majority of the country agrees, that we need to be somewhere, then we all need to be sacrificing daily in order to be a part of that conflict. So no more of this, we're going to go to war because it generates economic growth. It's, if we're going to war, we're going to war because we are there for a purpose, and we are there for a short duration to get in, get done, and get out. These perpetual wars are doing nothing but becoming economic generators for basically two entities: the pharmaceutical companies that are exploiting those areas, and the oil and gas companies that are exploiting those areas, which leads into all of the war machines and all the technology that we're supporting. And so we've got to stop. We have to break this addiction to this economic generator. There's better ways to have economic generation than to have wars being it. So we got to stop. That's number one. Number two is all of the federal programs that exist that are overarching and take away state rights, they need to be wound down, and they need to be pulled back in. And the states that want those programs need to step up and figure out how to have those programs. And that includes the IRS. There is no reason in this Constitution, founding documents, anywhere, that the way we tax people is okay. Our tax system is so beyond broken and so beyond out of control, it's insane. People making billions of dollars are paying 15 or less % on the money that they earn, versus somebody that is scrimping and starving and barely getting by on minimum wage is paying 25 and 35% of their income. That's just on the income side. That doesn't count all the other taxes. When you start adding all your taxes together, the average American is spending somewhere around 40 to 50% of their income annually on taxes. That is unacceptable. We had a major revolution over a 2% tax on tea because we wanted representation. And I can't talk to a single person that feels like their representatives are actually listening to them. So taxation without representation was the foundation of this country. And if we don't do something soon, I can assure you there are people out in this country that are going to start a bloody revolution. They are going to try to overthrow this government because they are fed up with the way it's going. I don't want a violent revolution because you never know what the outcome is going to be. You have no idea if the Constitution is going to stay in place, or if during a revolution they decide to go to a dictatorship or some other kind of a monarchy, or God only knows. What I know is we have an amazing governmental system that was created over 200 years ago by brilliant, inspired men that had some kind of a divine intervention going on, because that foundational documents that we have are some of the most inspired I've ever read in the entire world. We just need to restore the value of that system. We need to decentralize the government so that it is not as easily corrupted and as easily manipulated as it currently is. We must, before it's too late, put the states back in control of the states and let the collective of the states be the United States. That's what I stand for. That's what I will continue to stand for. And I will continue to run until somebody shows up in front of me that I believe has the same kind of dedication and devotion to this cause. So, in the absence of leadership, I will be a leader. That is my nature, and that is who I am. So, I look forward to seeing more of you on the road. Have a great day.